Samantha always believed her marriage was built on honesty, love, and trust. For years, she supported her husband Daniel through every hardship, every challenge, and every late night at work. She thought they were building a future together, one brick at a time. But the night she accidentally answered his phone when it buzzed on the kitchen counter, her entire world cracked in half. The message wasn't innocent. It wasn't from a colleague or a friend. It was from another woman, a message dripping with intimacy and promises. Samantha's stomach dropped, her hands trembling as she scrolled through thread after thread. Photos, plans, secret getaways. Her husband had been living another life behind her back, and she had been blind to it all. That night, Samantha confronted Daniel. His face went pale. His words stumbled, excuses tripping over one another like broken glass. He swore it meant nothing, that it was just a mistake. But the truth was already carved into her heart. He betrayed her trust, and no amount of pleading could undo that. Samantha didn't scream. She didn't throw him out. Instead, she nodded silently, and in that quiet, she made a promise to herself. If he thought she would crumble, if he thought she would fade into the background while he carried on, he was wrong. She would take back her power, and she would make sure he felt the sting of betrayal far deeper than she ever had. For weeks, she played the role of the forgiving wife. She cooked his dinners, laughed at his jokes, and kissed him goodnight. All the while, she was gathering evidence. Every text message, every hotel bill, every whispered phone call, she documented it all. She reached out to a lawyer, a sharp, unyielding woman who understood revenge better than anyone. Her lawyer told her something that lit a fire inside her. "The law is on your side, Samantha. If you play this right, he won't just lose you, he'll lose everything." Samantha followed every instruction. She set up financial traps, quietly moved money into secure accounts, and traced every hidden purchase Daniel thought she didn't know about. While he continued sneaking around, Samantha built a case so strong that not even his most expensive lawyer could unravel it. The day of the court hearing arrived. Daniel strutted in with arrogance, wearing the same smug smile that once made her heart melt. He thought she was weak, that she would beg for scraps of support, that she would crawl back to him no matter what. But when Samantha entered, dressed in a sharp suit, her eyes steady and cold, the confidence drained from his face. The courtroom was silent as her lawyer laid out the evidence. Photos of him with another woman, hotel receipts, messages that left no doubt of his betrayal. Daniel tried to defend himself, but his words cracked, his voice shaking under the weight of undeniable proof. Samantha didn't look at him as the judge spoke. She didn't need to. She already knew the verdict before it was read aloud. The house, the savings, custody of their children, all awarded to her. Daniel was left with nothing but the shame of his choices. As he stood there, stunned and broken, Samantha finally met his eyes. There was no anger in her gaze anymore, no sadness. Only the calm satisfaction of justice. He had underestimated her, believed she was fragile, but in the end, she was the one who rose stronger than ever. Outside the courthouse, Samantha breathed in the crisp air and felt the weight lift off her shoulders. She was free, free from lies, free from betrayal, free from the man who thought she would never fight back. Her friends later asked her if revenge was worth it. She only smiled and said, "It wasn't revenge, it was justice, and justice feels like freedom." Daniel's life spiraled quickly after the trial. The woman he betrayed Samantha with disappeared as soon as the money was gone. His friends distanced themselves, unwilling to stand beside a man so thoroughly exposed. Meanwhile, Samantha thrived. She built a new life with the settlement she rightfully earned, focusing on her children, her career, and herself. Every time Daniel passed her in town, he avoided her eyes, too ashamed to face the woman who had once loved him and whom he had betrayed. And every time Samantha walked past him with her head high, knowing she had won in every way that mattered. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't just about taking everything in court. It is about showing the one who broke you that you will never be broken again. I am your host, and this is a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the 80s. A time when hair was big, greed was bigger, and shoulder pads were massive. Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes on the beautiful, the magnificent, the one and only Samantha. Born into wealth with an equally wealthy husband, she had it all. Well, except maybe a hobby that didn't involve shopping. Her idea of fun was going to the corner store for milk and returning with 8 new outfits that matched the carton. This woman lived for retail therapy. Her favorite place in the world was the local mall, where she would spend hours upon hours browsing the latest fashions. One day, while she was at her favorite haunt, the Forever Yours department store, she laid her eyes on a dazzling diamond necklace. It was love at first sight. She had to have it. But at a cool $25,000, it was a bit more expensive than her weekly grocery budget. Oh, well, no big deal. She just needed to get a small loan from her darling husband. She trotted off home, ignoring the nagging voice in her head that told her not to do this again. She was met at the door by her adoring husband, who swept her into his arms and showered her with kisses. The voice in her head got louder, but she tried to ignore it. Now listen, I'm not gonna lie. At first glance, this guy seemed like a total catch. He was rich, good-looking, and could talk business like nobody's business. But something about him just didn't sit right with me. Like he was always a bit too smooth, a bit too charming. You know, the type of guy who could sell you a dream and then run away with your wallet. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, she poured her heart out to him, explaining how much she wanted the necklace, and he looked at her as if she had grown a second head. After what felt like an eternity, he finally spoke. You know, my love, I want to give you the world, but we have bills to pay and investments to consider. Perhaps another time. His words were like daggers piercing her heart. How could he be so insensitive? She thought their marriage was built on honesty, trust, and a shared love of shopping. Apparently not. But you know what? She wasn't going to take this lying down. No, sir. She had a plan, and it involved a little friendly competition. She challenged him to a contest. Whoever spent the most money in the next month would win the ultimate prize, her undying love and affection. Okay, maybe not that last part, but still. What did he have to lose? He accepted the challenge with a smirk on his face, thinking he could easily outspend her. Little did he know, she was a force to be reckoned with. For the next month, they went head-to-head in a spending spree like no other. Samantha hit the malls, the boutiques, and the antique shops, buying everything that caught her fancy. She picked up some chic new duds, a vintage hat box, and even a talking parrot that could recite Shakespeare. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. She bought a talking parrot that could recite Shakespeare. Who could possibly beat that? Well, how about a man who spent his entire allowance on art? Deco furniture, period rugs, and solid gold picture frames. The competition was fierce, but in the end, it came down to who could buy the most expensive item. He had dropped a cool $35,000 on a Flemish masterpiece, but she had saved her money for the ultimate splurge, a rare Ming vase worth a staggering $60,000. She presented her prize to him with a flourish, a smug smile on her face. Finally, he understood the true meaning of love, the love of money. He was furious, his face red with rage. But before he could say a word, she dropped the bomb. She announced that she had outspent him and won the contest. His eyes widened in disbelief. He couldn't believe that she had beaten him at his own game. He threw his head back and let out a loud whistle. Well played, Samantha. You win this round. He knew he had been outfoxed, but he wasn't going down without a fight. He proposed a rematch, but she declined, knowing that she had already won the ultimate prize. Not only had she gotten the vase, but she had also proven to herself that she didn't need a man to buy her happiness. You see, Samantha had realized something during the contest. She didn't really care about impressing her husband or winning his love. What she really cared about was spending money and buying things that made her happy. And that's exactly what she did. She became a self-made woman, a true fashionista who didn't have to rely on anyone to fund her fabulous lifestyle. And the funny thing is, after she won the contest, she never even asked her husband for money again. She had found a new source of income, selling the vases and other items she bought during the contest at a hefty profit. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. She had taken a simple vase and turned it into a fortune. It was a vase-tastic success. Now, you might be wondering what happened to her husband. Well, let's just say he wasn't exactly thrilled about her newfound independence. He tried to control her, to keep her in the gilded cage he had built for her, but she wouldn't be caged. She took the money she had earned and invested it in her own business, a chain of high-end boutiques that sold the latest fashions. She called it Samantha's Style, and it was an instant hit. Women flocked to her stores from all over the city to buy the latest trends and soak up the luxurious atmosphere. She had done it. She had created a fashion empire that was all her own. And the best part was, she didn't have to rely on anyone to fund it. She was a self-made woman, a true boss babe who didn't take crap from anyone. And as for her husband, well, let's just say he learned the hard way that you don't mess with a woman's love of shopping. He tried to control her, to keep her in the gilded cage he had built for her, but she wouldn't be caged. She took the money she had earned and invested it in her own business, a chain of high-end boutiques that sold the latest fashions. She called it Samantha's Style, and it was an instant hit. Women flocked to her stores from all over the city to buy the latest trends and soak up the luxurious atmosphere. She had done it. She had created a fashion empire that was all her own. And the best part was, she didn't have to rely on anyone to fund it. She was a self-made woman, a true boss babe who didn't take crap from anyone. As for her husband, well, let's just say he learned the hard way that you don't mess with a woman's love of shopping. And that's all, folks. The end. So here's the moral of the story. Don't mess with a woman's love of shopping unless you want to end up on the wrong end of a spending spree. Samantha may have started out as a spoiled rich girl, but she quickly proved that she was more than just a pretty face with a big shopping habit. She was a savvy businesswoman with a sharp eye for trends and an even sharper tongue. On the other hand, her husband, well, let's just say he got what was coming to him. He tried to hold Samantha back, to keep her from pursuing her dreams and unleashing her full potential. But karma has a funny way of biting you in the behind, doesn't it? In the end, it was Samantha who came out on top, both financially and personally. She didn't just prove to everyone, including herself, that she didn't need a man to make her happy. She also created a life that was truly her own. So if there's anything we can learn from Samantha's story, it's that we shouldn't underestimate the power of women. They can be smart, savvy, and stylish, and they don't need anyone to hold their purse strings. That's right. We're not asking for permission to spend our allowance. We're taking charge of our own lives and making our own financial moves. And if that means buying a few extra shoes or a couple of designer handbags, well, so be it. After all, we work hard and we deserve it. So don't try to hold us back, because we're just getting started. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, remember to stay classy, sassy, and above all, money conscious. And hey, if you happen to see a Ming vase at a garage sale, buy it. You never know when it might come in handy.